Okay guys, so we're back with Tom Lockett and he's decided to play the new Plunder Patrol deck that came out recently. So what have you been playing it in?
Sorry?
What events have you been playing?
So we had a winner box a couple of weeks ago that we won 4 wins, 1 draw in Swiss, and then lost in the top 4. We've had a couple of hobby leagues since then, which has been okay. Today I was 2 wins, 1 draw. A couple of weeks ago it was 2 wins, so it's kind of it was good at the winner box, but it's been a bit worse since then. But it's still cool. I still like the deck.
Okay, so what kind of things are you playing in it? What makes it different? What are you playing different from the other builds?
So it's a going second build. So you're playing kaijus, which I think are somewhat common in some of the builds as well, because you give them the extra attributes so that you can summon the right extra deck monsters. And I'm also playing the Lone Fire, Blossom, and Predator Plant combo, which is I'm choosing to play that instead of cards like Summoner Monk and Big Water Tenyi and Tin Goldfish and that kind of thing, because firstly it's a little bit more versatile in what it can pull out. It can pull out a lot of high link monsters from the extra deck, especially when in conjunction with Clone Sheep and Instant Fusion, gives you easy access to Royal Sword Dragon. There's also a small combo with it involving Cherubini and Fiendish Rhino Warrior, which can pull the Plunder Patrols out of the deck, put them in the graveyard, and then summon them back with Clone Sheep or with Monster Reborn. That one's not so great, but it's a thing that you potentially do. And with the release of Union Carrier and with Master Rule 5, you can also go into Union Carrier with the Predator Plants, Instant Fusion to Mud Dragon, use the Union Carrier to equip the Plunder Patrol to the Mud Dragon, and then if you have the field spell in your graveyard, you can bounce the Plunder Patrol equip spell to activate it, and then you can go from there with the Plunder Patrol combos. That's somewhat better after Master Rule 5, because Union Carrier takes up a space and you're going to summon Blackbeard under it probably, and you need extra spaces along to be able to summon other extra deck monsters. But yeah, whereas stuff like Summoner Monk's a lot more linear and it's just rank 4, Synchro 8, there's not that much it can do by comparison when you've got like Link Span.
Alright, okay, so well, you talked about it, let's have a look at what you're actually playing in it. Alright, so let's have a look at what you're playing.
Okay, so first, obviously, it's Plunder Patrol deck. You've only got 6 Plunder Patrol monsters, so you're going to play them. And we've got Kaijus, 2 Dogoran, 2 Radiant, 1 Gamma Seal. The attributes are important, as I said, because of the Blackbeard summoning them out from the extra deck during your turn or during your opponent's turn. There's just the regular Plunder Patrol main deck monsters. Less of this because summoning Blackbeard is really easy. You don't really need to force them to have water monsters to summon Blackbeard. But with these, it's a bit more important to have them have a Dark or a Fire. Also, with it being a going second deck, the Kaijus are really strong against stuff like Spirals that are running around right now. It's always going to be good removal to have the Kaijus in the extra deck. As I said, we've got the Lone Fire stuff for some small combos and for link plays. And if you have Plunder Patrol Helm in your hand, or if you open with a field spell and search Helm, you can send it with this. A lot of effects won't trigger if sent off this because it's a cost, and it's a send, not a discard, so stuff like Dangers doesn't trigger, Shadows don't trigger, but the Plunder Patrols just care about being sent from the hand to the graveyard, doesn't care if it's a cost or not, so they will still trigger. We've got 1 Fiendish Rhino Warrior, which as I said is for a small combo. You basically make Cherubini with these 2, send this to send a Plunder Patrol monster, and you get Instant Fusion. You can make Clone Sheep, Instant Fusion, something, bring back the Plunder Patrol monster with the Clone Sheep. And that's all for the monsters. For spells, we've got obviously the 4 field spells. Really good card, this. People don't really like to get rid of it because even though it's getting you cards constantly, you can just get it back again. And it serves as good discard fodder for even when you have to use Merc a lot to search for spells rather than monsters. You want to search for the monsters, but if you have to search spells, this is a good one to search because, again, you can discard it and get it back. We've got 3 Kaiju Slumbers for the Kaijus, obviously. We've got the cards that we search off the Predator Plant monster. Super Poly is quite good in this deck because you can change the attributes of your opponent's monsters, so you can make Starving Venom or Mud Dragon a lot easier. Instant Fusion again is for the Clone Sheet combos mostly, that can be useful in other situations as well, like getting an extra monster just so that you can make Blackbeard. 2 Mind Controls. Again, it's a going second deck. Mind Controls, really good card, especially when you have the Plunder Patrol monsters and the Blackbeard you can make with them. You just take any monster, make it into a link, and it makes your strategy move forward. And a couple of one-offs, Pot of Avarice, Monster Reborn. This, I'm considering cutting. The deck does run through its monsters quite quickly, but you can also recycle them quite easily as well with Plunder Patrol Booty. And Monster Reborn, you kaiju your opponent's monsters, you Monster Reborn the monster. You can also work just to get you an extra monster on the field, again to link into the Blackbeard. There's a lot of just trying to get extra monsters on the field so you can make Blackbeard. So that's spells. For traps, we've got the 3 Plunder Patrol Booties. And finally, for evenly matched, as I said, going second. So, extra deck. We've got the Plunder Patrol monsters. I'm just playing 2 of each at the moment, but I do sometimes miss a 3rd copy of these, especially against a lot of the decks going around right now. This is often the best one to summon. You only really summon this against stuff like Altergeist and Subterra. I guess most of the decks you're going to be summoning this most of the time, so I sometimes do tend to run out. And unfortunately, when you summon this off Blackbeard or one of the other Plunder Patrols, you can't bring it back with Plunder Patrol Booty because it wasn't summoned correctly. So you have to just shuffle it back into the extra deck and then find another way to get back to it. And this is the main sort of play starter, so you do sometimes run out of this as well. But fortunately, this one you can bring back with Booty, so you don't run out of it as much as you run out of this. Hardly ever actually make them properly. You don't really want to make Merc properly most of the time because then you don't get something to equip to it. And making Grand properly, you need to have Whitebeard, which doesn't always come up. So we have got the fusion monsters for the extra deck, super poly targets, and the instant fusion targets. This is both instant fusion and super poly. You can instant fusion into this and use it to make Bran if you need to, and also use it to make your opponent unable to target your Plunder Patrol monsters. I think if you're going to run a very small super poly package at the moment, this is probably the most optimal one to do in this deck, because this covers Spiral and Salamangreat, and this covers basically everything else because of Plunder Patrol Booty's effect. Thousand Effect, just a good generic one to summon off instant fusion. We've got a couple of a few more monsters. As I said, we've got combos with this with the Predator Plants, and you usually end up with this. If you open with Lone Fire and Kaiju Slumber, it's 8,000 damage easily, if they don't have anything to stop it. Next format will also have Union Carrier in there as well, possibly Verte Anaconda. And a couple of random extra ones. This I hardly ever go into, so I'm probably going to cut it. This, again, the deck does run through its monsters quite quickly, and it plays a few level 4s, probably more when we get more support for the deck, so it would be good there as well. And lastly, we have the side deck. Green Barriers, everyone's favourite Rockman. Not main deck, because I've already got enough going second cards, and this isn't good against every deck, but against the special summon decks, this is still really good to have, even if you have loads of other going second cards as well. 2 draws for the Spiral matchup. Spiral is one of the few decks where you could potentially be scared of their board if you don't open with Kaiju, so Draw and Lockbird is for that one. 2 Lightning Storms. Didn't really bring this in very much. I think it can probably be cut, but it's a good versatile card to have against both wide boards like Heroes and against back row decks as well, obviously. It's Lightning Storm, I don't think I really need to go into that much detail about it, but even with this deck you end up with a lot of face-up cards in your back row, like the Field Spell and the Plunder Patrol monsters. If you do end up in that situation and you have the Field Spell in your graveyard already, you can just bounce one of the monsters to your back row, set the Field Spell, and that immediately gets rid of 2 of your face-up cards potentially. 3 Twin Twisters. It's good in this deck because of the discarding stuff. You've got a few cards that you don't mind discarding, like obviously the Plunder Patrol cards and also the Kaiju Slumbers when you do not have any more Kaijus left. And we have some cards so that this deck can actually do something when it goes first sometimes. This deck is terrible going first. If you don't open with something like this against like an extra deck, like Shadows or Spirals, against something like Dinosaurs that doesn't use the extra deck but still goes second, the deck just doesn't do very well if it loses the die roll. So yeah, that's the deck. I think that's the deck. We've got I think the Predator Plant stuff makes the deck more versatile, gives you links. Link access is really good. There's a few cards that can be cut. There's a lot of improvements to be made, and I'm not the best person at like building combos, so we've got the Predator Plant combos in there, but it's very like small combos. Somebody who's willing to spend more time thinking about it could probably come up with something better, and especially when we get more Plunder Patrol cards in the next set.
Whenever that comes.
Yeah, whenever that comes, we don't know whether it's going to be this month or not here in Europe.
Do you think you'll play the Verti Anaconda?
Maybe play that as well, yeah. You're playing Instant Fusion and Super Poly already, and again, changing your opponent's monsters to dark means you can access Merc even if they don't have a dark monster. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can add to it, and going forward when Plunder Patrols come out in the next set, the only real problem that I have much of the time is not having enough Plunder Patrol cards, either not to make your Link monster or not enough to discard for your extra deck monster effects. So just getting more Plunder Patrol cards, even if the support is very mediocre, is going to improve the deck a lot. As long as they don't give them a fusion monster that says one Plunder Patrol monster and one other card, because then Super Poly becomes a problem for other decks playing it.
I think a lot of decks that have shown sort of rogue, sort of maybe tier 2, 3 sort of level, they all start off the same, like Marincess. They started off the same, just not seeing enough of your archetypal cards. Yeah. So I think it's just one way to support. I think
it's very standard with the TCG exclusive archetypes. They give them not that many cards early on, like Dangers early on wasn't really a thing, but then later on it became an FTK deck. So just getting more cards can be really good for an archetype, especially if that's all it really needs. It already has good effects.
Right. Well, thank you, Tom. Look forward to seeing what changes you make to the deck, and hopefully we'll have another deck profile when Eternal Court eventually comes out. Cheers.
Shh, not a zombie channel.